I gotta say, ever since Better Call Saul ended, I'm always craving the next great courtroom drama piece of media, film, television, what have you. So, boy, am I always in a happy mood whenever somebody delivers on that.
You complain about the life that you chose. You're not a victim. Not at all.
Be fair. I'm a man who's been cheated on. I can't stand anymore. I'm fighting.
You're fighting!
I'm innocent, you know that, right?
And today we have Anatomy of a Fall. I didn't have a Better Call Saul shirt or anything like that, unfortunately, but I did, funny enough, have a Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial shirt lying around. Don't ask me why. I didn't even realize I had a courtroom-related shirt, but I do, so you bet your sweet candy ass I'm breaking it out for this review. I would not be surprised if many of you, and many people in general, might not have heard of this one. Again, I've only seen this because it came out in my local art house cinema, because they kept showing the trailer a lot recently, and it's a foreign film, so I was very curious. The trailer was good, and I could tell there wasn't like a lot of crazy nonsense going on in this movie, but the trailer was a really well done one, and I was curious. I was like, alright, so this is a potential, like, was there murder, was there not murder type of investigation going on. I looked at the thing online and I said, oh, 2.5 hour courtroom drama. Let's see if this one sticks the landing. Now, I have a tendency to get these wrong, and I think I did adequate research, let's hope. I already messed up When Evil Lurks and said it was a Spanish film, and people politely corrected me and told me it was actually from Argentina. So when I say this is a French film, I sincerely hope that I am correct. Although it's funny, many languages are spoken in this film, English included, a lot of English, which given the character and characters involved, it makes sense from a narrative perspective, but it's just funny. I was expecting to hear only all other languages besides English, and then immediately I was hearing English, and I was like, okay, sure. French film by a Justine Triet. Here comes my mediocre French accent, but according to their IMDb, is known for Sybil or Age of Panic. Two things I know nothing about. I am very unaware and unfamiliar with this director's entire filmography. This is the first film of theirs that I've seen. There are multiple protagonists in the film for sure, or character. There's more than two characters, but I think worth putting on a pedestal for their performances. We have our main lead, German actress Sandra Hüller. I want to say Holler because there's the accent over the U. I don't know what that does to it. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Nein. Funny enough, so she's going to be in an upcoming A24 produced / advertised joint called The Zone of Interest. I know very little about it aside from I think it's like a German family during the Nazi times, and they're like trying to reconcile with that while providing for their family. It looks intriguing. Of course, her IMDb says she's also known for something else called Toni Erdmann. Again, an actress of which I am unfamiliar with what they've been in the past, but if this movie's any barometer of talent, etc., then I'm very much down to see her in The Zone of Interest. And the other one I want to say, like, put up on a pedestal real quick, is the kid, her son, who's kind of caught in the middle of all this, in the middle of the trial. I think he's strictly a French actor, so if I had to guess, it's something like Milo Machado Granet, just something like that. Again, I'm embarrassed to even try the accent, but I thought this might have been his debut. No, he's been in other stuff, of which I don't know, but he's been in, IMDb says, most well known for Stuck Together, as well as Waiting for Bojangles. So what a varied filmography we have. No spoilers going into this, and I don't want to taint the jury, as it were. Watch the trailer, go in as blind as possible. That's the deal with this. Anatomy of a Fall is literally about husband, wife, live together in this like cabin out in the mountains, basically with their son and their dog, and the husband, and basically ends up falling from like the top floor of this place, conking his head on the way down, and is dead, obviously. And so, you know, the police launch their investigation. The husband and the wife were alone in the house, and she claims that she just found him like that when her son got back from walking the dog, and then a trial ensues. Because then it's like, well, we have to investigate every angle. Was there foul play here, or was this just truly an accident? The hashtag campaign for this movie and marketing, and the literal website that exists is, I believe, didshedoit.com. So I don't want to bias you in any way, shape, or form. Go in as blind as possible, and then that also completes the experience for you, and I'll tell you why momentarily. 2 movies in a row where I walked out of the theater and I had no notes. Again, I'm so happy. It's always like end of the year bangers, right? This film is fantastic, but you gotta be okay with a long courtroom drama. If you're okay with that, because it's a very well done courtroom drama in my opinion, then you're gonna love this stuff. This is my bread and butter in terms of what I want to see in a courtroom drama / family drama / kind of like a, I don't want to say whodunit per se, but you catch my drift. There's a case to be solved here, and there's legal courtroom deliberation with not overly dramatized moments mixed in. It's a very grounded, well-written courtroom drama that's very well acted as well. It does everything that it set out to do to a T very well. It's 2.5 hours that went by like that, and I think it's such a good movie. What's crazy about this is, and what the film ends up doing is basically like the judge, the jury, everybody's having to dissect this couple's relationship because they're so uncertain about what transpired. Then they have no choice but to start dissecting their relationship and figure out, oh, well, how do they feel about each other, and why do they act the way they did, and, you know, oh, well, this seems like this, and, well, you don't have the perspective of this, and so that adds this fascinating dichotomy to the entire trial. In the back of my head, as well as all the other audience members' heads, I assume, you're just sitting there like, an absence, in lieu of hard facts. We are literally dissecting this couple's relationship, and we're going to use that to influence the jury one way or the other, tip the scales into guilty or not guilty. That's crazy, but that's what they're doing because they don't really have much else of a choice in this matter. It is very well acted. Our leading lady gives a killer performance, which is funny because, as my friend joked, like, she's often kind of comes off as cold and emotionless, and my friend was like, oh, well, you know, the actress is German. But there's still emotional depth throughout the film, both from her son as well, especially from her son in certain moments, and just all really good actors in this film. They fulfill their roles very well, dutifully. Just it all feels very human, very natural, and it's all, I always love films that can show like the reality of humanity, which is that we are all innately flawed, emotional creatures that sometimes don't make sense, sometimes our lives are complicated, and sometimes our relationships are super complicated. I brought it up before with movies like this year's Past Lives, or the previous year's Worst Person in the World, films that aren't afraid to show you like, oh, well, you know, this is all around the world, this kind of stuff happens, where a relationship appears one way, is actually a different way, and to help cope with certain, like, aspects of life, whether it's trauma, loss, or hardship, or lack of personal fulfillment, will do things that most people might consider taboo or socially unacceptable, but it's just kind of how life is. It's just that's life. Pinning off of that, like I said, I love how this film explores all those moral gray areas and like the dichotomy of this couple's relationship, or the events that had to have transpired on that day, and, you know, all the little factors that may have influenced it. Again, it's a courtroom drama, so we're having to, in lieu of the actual hard facts and evidence, we're having to take the dichotomy of this couple and apply that as the, what do you call them, the plaintiff, or the whoever is the assault class basically is attacking the defendant, and having to twist and shape these different little bits and bobs about, you know, the setting or the time or the day or the witnesses or the relationship, and trying to twist that in the right direction to form these bridges that can make a solid case. And then, of course, the defense is doing their part to knock all these down. But it's really engaging, it's really well written and well acted. So if you don't get bored by courtroom drama, is what I'm saying. The best part is that you feel like a member of the jury. This film never tries to paint its characters in one light or another. You are an observer. You are, you might start to feel inclinations towards a certain character, feel a certain type of way, maybe from your heart or your headspace, emotionally or otherwise, but it doesn't show you like, oh, Joe Schmo shot somebody and now you know that Joe Schmo's guilty and it's a matter of putting him behind bars. Like, you will be questioning very often in this film. You might flip-flop back and forth, like, that seems sus. Okay, well, that makes sense, though. I don't like how they did that or said that. And you're like, well, but this could be, like, it's cool. This movie makes you feel like you are a member of the jury, and you're trying to figure it out as well as the trial goes on. Do we ever get a definitive answer? The movie puts you in a spot where by the end of it, you pretty much, in your head, you can come to your own conclusion one way or the other. That's one of its strongest points of the film, is that you feel like you're part of this process, part of this trial, and you are, by the end of it, you decide, did she do it? Did she not do it? For all those reasons and many more that I can get into in terms of talent behind the camera, talent in front of the camera, you can go on and on about all that, but I would love to see the rest of what this director's done. I'm very curious to see how the future projects of our main leading lady's filmography is going to be, but I'll leave it at this. Walking out of Anatomy of a Fall, I said out loud to my friends and to myself, I have no notes. It was perfect. It was great. Is it going to be one of my favorites for the year? I don't know. Maybe. There's some bangers recently that might make it to the top 10, but I have no notes for Anatomy of a Fall. That's why, you can guess it, I would give it a 5 out of 5. It sounds crazy, but yeah, 5 out of 5. I don't think it had any missteps. Such an engaging, interesting film that does a lot of interesting things very well. Now, in terms of rewatchability, I'll admit I don't have a craving to immediately rewatch it and then watch it again and again and again, but upon the first and so far only watch, I can say that it's fantastic. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode of whatever movie I review. Goodbye, travelers.